Recording in progress.
Oops.
If he speaks, it will come up on your screen.
Okay.
Otherwise, you won't see him, but he will be. If he needs to address the board or make a comment, he'll pop up.
We have one commissioner that will be online tonight. Commissioner Bunch. You ready, Scott? Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and call our July the 12th, 2021, regular scheduled town Board of Commissioners meeting to order. I will ask to lead us in our invocation and our Mayor Pro Tem, Massengill, to lead us in our pledge. All stand.
Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for the opportunity you've given us, Lord, to be here. Lord, we're thankful for the opportunity to meet in person with folks who comprise our community, Lord, and have folks in our meetings with us tonight. Lord, we're thankful for that. Father, we still pray for those in our midst, in our community, who are still battling remnants of the pandemic, Lord. We know there's still people who are sick, people who are battling. We pray for them, Lord. Pray that you'll touch them. Father, we pray for our meeting tonight. Pray you'll give us wisdom as we have to make decisions on items that come before us. And Lord, when it's all said and done tonight, we pray that what is done and said here tonight will be pleasing in your sight. For we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I ask that our town manager, Adam Mitchell, review the meeting protocol for public participation as it relates to this meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, board members. Tonight's meeting is both in person and virtual. A limited number of citizens from the public have been permitted to attend the meeting in person this evening. 50% of seating availability is permitted by the town at this time for public meetings. Tonight's meeting contains a public comment period and 3 scheduled public hearings. Due to the hybrid nature of the meeting, the public will be invited to comment both in person and virtually via the Zoom virtual meeting platform. When it's the appropriate time, Mayor Byrne will first call on those wishing to address the town board that are attending in person, followed by those wishing to address the town board via the Zoom platform. All attendees that have appeared in person to address the town board should provide your name and address on the registration sheet at the podium prior to the public comment period. All attendees that have joined the meeting virtually, have joined muted. If those joining virtually wish to address the town board during the public comment period, they will need to notify the town host that they wish to speak. For the public's benefit that may be joining the meeting via the Zoom platform, please press the raise hand button in the Zoom app to notify the town host that you wish to address the board. Please press *9 to raise your hand if you're joining by telephone. After an individual has raised their hand, they will enter into a queue. When the time for public comment begins, Mayor Byrne will ask the town host to recognize individuals that have notified the town host that they wish to speak by calling out their name or the last 4 digits of their telephone number. Individuals will be unmuted one at a time. excuse me, and invited to address the town board. We ask all those wishing to address the town board to begin their comments by clearly stating their name and address for the public record. That's whether in person or virtually. The public is asked to keep all comments to 3 minutes so that all the wish to speak can be heard in a timely manner. And this concludes the protocol for tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Adam. Approval of the minutes from the June 22nd, 2021 regular scheduled town board meeting.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4A, there are no presentations for our meeting tonight.
Actually, Mayor, we do have one impromptu presentation.
That's right, we
this
do.
evening. And if I could have Joanne Crabtree, our Finance Director, Jay Myers, our Public Utilities Director, to please step forward. And Mayor, if you'll come back around to the front. And Scott, I don't know if we have a camera to get a photo, perhaps. I see a town board to come in, if you will.
See, it's a good red shirt. Right there. Show it, man. What that?
Scott, are we on? We're good. Okay. As the board members know, and the public who may have been tuning into our board meetings as of recent may be aware, the town has gone through a recent refunding and refinancing of some utility bonds that we had issued in years past. We have taken advantage of favorable interest rates in the market environment, and it comes at a savings to the town. And so tonight, I'd like to present to the mayor, the board, with Joanne and Jay's help, a check that really is written out to the residents and taxpayers of Fuquay-Varina for a over $1.1 million savings that comes back to our community. So this is something that we've worked very hard on to, again, take advantage of favorable interest rates in the market, and we're reinvesting resources back into the community. So, Mayor, I don't know if you want to make a few comments about this as well. And then we'll get a post picture. Scott.
Well, I think the comments that I would make, this is a big deal. You know, $1.1 million. I know Jonathan can use it in our parks. You know, we can use it in a lot of different places. But I want to thank Joanne Crabtree for helping us accomplish this, and our town board members too for making this a great thing to do for all of our citizens. And we had a local financial institution, I believe, that stepped forward in Fidelity Bank and helped us a lot with this. And this is a great thing for our community and for our citizens. Thank you, Adam. And
Scott, can we get a post picture? Everybody up here. Mayor, I'll take the mic back from you. And take note of the date. We can't cash this until July 15th. Thank you. Thank y'all.
you know, it's hard to forget about that one.
That's right.
You get $1 million back. At this time, I will ask our assistant town clerk, will call on individuals that are in attendance that have registered to address the town board prior to the meeting. Following those who are in attendance, the IT director will call on individuals that have virtually raised their hands by way of the Zoom app or telephone. The public comment period is a time for the public to address the town board on any matter that is not subject to a scheduled public hearing. Those speaking are asked to begin by clearly stating your name and address for the public record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes so that all who wish to speak may be heard in a timely manner. Teresa?
Tony Tate.
Tony Tate, please come forward.
Is this the public hearing one, Teresa, or the public comment?
He signed up for public comments.
Okay.
Is it for? Okay, the next person on the list is Emmanuel Holland.
Greetings, Town Board and Chief Feinstock. My name is Emmanuel Holland. Address is 209 Burr Creek Drive, Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina. Been a resident here since 2004. As a citizen, I'm going to make a request of 3 particular items, if you will bear with me. The first is that I would like for, actually, I represent, well, I am here as part of the Fuquay-Varina Community Alliance, sorry.
Okay.
I would like to make a request that a cultural assessment of the municipal government of Fuquay be conducted as soon as possible. Number 2, that the assessment is done by an independent entity to preserve the integrity, validity, and sanctity of the process. In addition, a consultant be hired to analyze and make recommendations and proceed with the task of managing the outcomes of the report. Number 3, information of the entire report to be shared publicly upon completion. I would like to yield the remainder of my time to Javita Simons.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your comments.
Jovita's the next one.
Do what?
Jovita Simons.
Jovita Simons. Jovita, please come on.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jovita Simons. I live on Northwest Street here in Fuquay-Varina. As you're aware, through a series of meetings and ongoing communications held with the town manager Mitchell, Commissioners Wunsch, Smith, Massengill, Gardner, and Harris, we propose that a cultural assessment of the municipal government of Fuquay-Varina be conducted by an independent entity as soon as possible. We were led to believe that it would in fact occur and that our voices were being heard as the commissioners that we met with indicated that they support a cultural assessment being done. To quote Commissioner Massengill, it wasn't if a cultural assessment was going to be done, it was when. It is our understanding that on tonight, Town Manager Mitchell will make a recommendation to create and hire a diversity, equity, and inclusion position without any intended plan for a cultural assessment. He has stated that he is not prepared to recommend a cultural assessment, even though many commissioners have stated that they support it. Comments and concerns were raised by Commissioner Wunsch and Gardner that sustained accountability would be paramount in getting this on the table and begin the process. Having the assessment done as soon as possible does not prevent the former from happening. In our view and opinion, the cart is before the horse by not recommending the immediate search and hire of an entity to conduct the assessment. Truth in this process is both critical and necessary, given the nature of what we're dealing with. In each of our meetings, we reiterated the overarching theme of opportunity and commitment. We extended a hand to position this town in front of what is happening as it relates to race relations, racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We pointed to the opportunity to take a proactive approach to these and many other issues as it related to equitable justice and operation in Fuquay. We emphasized the importance, need, and speed in which this assessment should occur. In each of these meetings, we shared the ongoing plight of Blacks in Fuquay-Varina and this country, and how exhaustive it is being a Black person in America. Generations of people have been left to scream, fight, and demand equity and justice. You would think in this day and time that those actions would be absurd. Sadly, it is our reality. Sadly, we must come before a panel such as this and all but beg for equity. Sadly, we must continue to open the eyes of town leaders to correct wrongs that have spanned centuries and, yes, do even exist in our growing town. In the absence of data, perception and individual experiences are the reality. I'll repeat that. In the absence of data, perception and individual experiences are the reality. An independent cultural assessment performed as soon as possible would create that reality. How have we as a town operated? Under what norms? What values, culture, and system for all these years leading up to today? The assessment can help answer these questions. The assessment can help answer this. As you look around our town government, what do you see versus what you know? This question cannot truly be answered if never investigated and information is not brought forth. Dismantling any racist system that has been operating for generations and is woven into the fabric of our nation as well as our daily lives, and has covertly and overtly placed itself among our daily operations so subtly that it can easily be overlooked at first and even second glance. Doing this will not happen overnight and maybe not even in our lifetimes, but it is a start at creating an environment that is free of culturally racist practices, norms, values, and behaviors. The process and outcomes will benefit us all. Dismantling a diabolical behemoth system such as systemic racism, we must begin somewhere and have a cultural assessment as soon as possible. This is one small step in the right direction. It will provide a DEI staff person an opportunity to see what work needs to be done. As stated, we're not opposed to the idea of hiring DEI personnel. It is the how, when, and why you are hiring them that we have major concerns. The priority is to get the information out and on the table. What are you afraid of? You were asked to choose your heart. If you choose not to move on this with conviction and alacrity, it will be hard. If you choose to do something and the outcomes point in an unfavorable direction, it will still be hard. Choose your hard. We reiterate and strongly urge you to consider the following recommendations. A cultural assessment of the municipal government of Fuquay be conducted as soon as possible, that the assessment is done by an independent entity to preserve the integrity, validity, and sanctity of the process. In addition, a consultant be hired to analyze, make recommendations, and proceed with the task of managing the outcomes of the report. Information of the entire report to be shared publicly upon completion. We feel this strategy ensures that a non-biased controlling entity does not impact the purity and findings of the report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Teresa?
Adam Bensley.
Adam?
Good evening, my name's Adam Bensley. My address is 1152 Dexter Ridge Drive. So I've heard the mayor, town manager, and members of the board respond at great length to public comments in previous meetings. If anyone deserves a response, it's Ms. Jovita. So before I start my comment, I'm gonna allow y'all to respond to her.
This is it's public comment. You get to speak to the board. The board is not going to speak back.
Oh no, I've heard many times white women speaking about what they want for downtown Fuquay. Y'all spent 10 minutes responding to them. I think Ms. Jovita deserves a response, so I'm gonna wait until you give her a response.
Well, you got 3 minutes, we can wait.
So that's the choice you're gonna make.
You're gonna make the choice. You've got 3 minutes to share with us what your concern, what your comments are.
Well, that was one of them. It would be nice for her to get a response. But since you've made the decision to not respond to her, I'm gonna start. And Commissioner Harris, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna address your colleagues. As a white person and as white people, we have blind spots. And we may not understand how our day-to-day actions are contributing to the unjust systems that Jovita spoke about. Because of these blind spots, we oftentimes need someone to tell us what we may not understand and where we need improvement. We all have unconscious biases. No white person is immune to that, including myself. We need to take the feedback we receive and make the changes needed to improve until there is equity in the community. What you've all been told through public comment periods and through meetings with the Fuquay-Varina Community Alliance should have opened your eyes to the pressing issues that must be addressed. Until a cultural assessment of the entire town is conducted by an independent consultant, biases are going to continue contributing to racial disparity in this town. You've been told firsthand that these issues exist, and you cannot deny that they don't. Fuquay-Varina is not the only town where a cultural assessment is desperately needed. Every town that has not already conducted one needs one as soon as possible. Apex has already had one, and from what I understand, other nearby towns and cities are preparing for them. The assessment is a starting point to make things better and will be viewed by the public as a good, necessary step towards equity in Fuquay-Varina. Be a leader and be one of the first towns to complete an assessment and to act on it. If you care about Black people in this community, and if you care about brown people in this community, and if you care about all community members of color, you will commit to commissioning an independent cultural assessment of the municipal government as soon as possible. And you will also make you'll also make the assessment, the results of the assessment public, and you will also have an independent consultant follow the steps through that are recommended. We are not going anywhere. We will continue to show up to meetings. We will continue to raise public awareness about this issue. Please do what's right. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here.
Elizabeth Parent.
Elizabeth?
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Parent. I live at 8620 Jordan Meadow Drive. Thank you for letting Jovita Simons finish her statement. I appreciate that. I respect and applaud the members of the Fuquay-Varina Community Alliance for continuing to stand, and I know it has not been easy. As I have previously stated in public comment, since January I have been watching this situation unfold from my living room. In the past, I've been critical of the Town Board of Commissioners, Mayor, and Town Manager, as well as the Fuquay-Varina Community Alliance. Today, I stand as an ally to the Fuquay-Varina Community Alliance. 3 weeks ago, I was invited to a presentation of the FVCA meeting minutes. They were willing to be transparent regarding those meetings. In the presentation of the minutes, just as Ms. Simons articulated earlier, each of the commissioners of this board made their support for a cultural assessment. I am beyond appalled by the treatment of these community members that they have faced. Yeah, sure, okay, Town Manager Mitchell is the one responsible for delivering a board meeting agenda that is consistent with his presentation to this group of individuals. But each of you are holding a piece of this puzzle, and you are all MIA right now. I'm asking you to find your integrity and show up so we can all move forward in a way that benefits this town. I continue to ask for a cultural assessment of the municipal government that it will be conducted as soon as possible by an independent consultant, and that the entire report be made accessible to the public immediately upon its completion. If it is unable to be presented and voted on tonight, that it be accounted for on the agenda for the board meeting on August 2nd. I ask that you actually follow through what you have said in regards to your plan on hiring a DEI personnel in order to interpret the completed cultural assessment report and create a path to bring diversity, equity, and inclusion to the town of Fuquay-Varina. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
Stephanie Shattuck.
Hey, I'm Stephanie Shattuck, 1733 Ethan Springs Drive. In 2009, President Obama issued a presidential memorandum on transparency and open government. There were 3 points to it. He said government should be transparent, government should be participatory, and government should be collaborative. Just a year later, the town of Fuquay, they adopted a code of ethics for the local government. In it, it states, whereas, as elected local government officials, we are charged with upholding the trust of citizens of the town of Fuquay and with obeying relevant laws. Board members must be able to act in a manner that maintains their integrity, independence, yet is responsive to the interests and needs of those that they represent. Those that you represent need this cultural assessment of the municipal government immediately. The assessment must be done by an independent entity to preserve the integrity and validity, and that it must be shared with the public. A cultural assessment is good for everyone. It will help lead to improved decision-making that better represents all communities and is less likely to suffer from unintentional blind spots and biases. Increase community trust in local government by offering more options for community members to be seen and heard, as well as to better understand local government initiatives. It'll lead to a more equitable allocation of public resources to all of the community. And it will increase the trust between the community members by offering citizens more opportunities to interact with each other and their representatives. I know that, as others have said, that you all agree with this cultural assessment as well, being done eventually, maybe, I don't know, but it needs to be done now, immediately, as soon as possible, and not by a hired DEI officer inside. That just doesn't make sense at all. I don't understand how that can make sense to anyone. It needs to be done by someone outside and immediately. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Teresa?
There's no one else.
Okay. We'll move to our, Scott, do you have anybody?
No, sir, no hands are raised.
Okay. We'll move on to 6A.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to make a comment. I know that we want to move on, but I just think in response to some of the comments that have been made, I will make some comments that I made at the prior meeting in regards to the cultural assessment and our overall articulation of a strategic plan to the public. Part of the process for developing a strategic plan that addresses future management and the achieving of the overall missions of an organization is that you do an assessment, a cultural assessment. And I think we are hung up on the word cultural from the standpoint that it's going to shift from what the original intent of the theory behind the cultural assessment is, that we assess the norms, the values, the traditions, the patterns within an organization. And I see that, I believe that would have value to us as an organization, since we have, in prior retreats, we've talked about a strategic plan, but we've never added the cultural assessment as a part of it. I think the word cultural, people have a tendency to think that it's going to only talk about issues of equity, diversity, or race, but it's a much bigger picture than that. It's going to be an opportunity, if we decide as a board to have a cultural assessment, it's going to look at the entire organization of Fuquay-Varina, and it's going to help identify our strengths and weaknesses in the various areas of management, personnel, services, law enforcement, all of these things that encompass what our mission is here as a board. So I hope that as we continue these conversations, that we will respond to what has been presented to us, not from the standpoint that it's a threat to anyone losing a job, it's a threat to anyone feeling as if they're being attacked or targeted. It's not about that. It's really a tool of improvement. And if you look at all the data, all the professionals in management, they know that that's part of improving an overall system. So I hope that we as a board don't ignore the comments and the passion that has been presented to us this evening. And as we go further in the meeting, I would hope some of my fellow commissioners would share their comments as the same.
I think this, I think it's a learning process. And I think every board member here will learn from folks speaking tonight and their passion. What we have to do is try to understand, the deeper issue, as Commissioner Harris speaks about. I mean, this is a deeper issue, and we will. And I have confidence that the process will work. Okay, we'll move right on.
Well, one other comment, then I'm gonna move on. I know that there was.
I'm gonna move on now. You've had your time.
I just wanna
go ahead and move on to the next one.
Just a point of order, I know that there was
I'm the presiding officer, and I'm gonna move on. That's what we're gonna do tonight.
I want to clarify about a meeting request for the August meeting, Mr. Mayor. That's,
Okay.
I wanted to clarify.
I'm the presiding officer, Bill,
Well,
and
I
I hope you,
recognize.
I know you recognize
But that was my intent I think you would allow any other commissioner to make that follow-up comment. I just wanted to verify about the agenda. Someone had requested that this be placed on the August agenda, and I wanted to take note of that as far as the town manager was concerned.
Well, I think you
Those
can
are my
do that, we
comments.
can do that separately, and I think that's a good thing to have it on there.
Okay.
And that's what I would be planning to do that, if that was, what the manager wanted. Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're gonna move right on here. We move to the public hearing portion. Public hearings are a time for the petitioner to present his or her request and for the public to give input and voice their favor or opposition to the request. If you wish to speak and are physically in attendance, please step forward to the podium one at a time and provide your name and address on the registration log at the podium, and clearly state your name and address for the public record. Following those speaking who are physically in attendance, the IT director will call on individuals who have virtually raised their hand by way of the Zoom app or by the telephone. Those wishing to address the town board will be unmuted one at a time. Those speaking are asked to begin by stating your name and address for the public record. We ask all those addressing the town board to please limit your comments to 3 minutes in order that all who wish to speak may be heard in a timely manner. 7A, adoption of bond orders, parks and recreation, 18.5 million, and transportation, 20 million. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Town Manager Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this agenda item is to hold public hearings on the introduced bond orders for parks and recreation bonds of $18.5 million and transportation bonds for $20 million. On June 7th, the town board took action to schedule 2 public hearings for July 12th this evening, which is required prior to taking the final action to schedule a general obligation bond referendum. Specifically, 2 public hearings are scheduled for bond referenda to be held to authorize the issuance of up to $18.5 million for parks and recreation investments and an additional $20 million for transportation improvements. Once each bond order is formally adopted, the third resolution that's included in your agenda materials is a recommended motion that authorizes the town clerk to advertise the referenda date of November 2nd, 2021, and coordinate with the Wake County Board of Elections to include on the ballot both referenda questions for voter approval. Excuse me. The town board is considered scheduling a bond referenda to authorize the issuance again of general obligation bonds in the amount of $18.5 million for parks and recreation investments and $20 million for transportation investments. The estimated debt service for the full $38.5 million is approximately $2.4 million annually over 20 years. This debt service is a tax equivalent of 5 cents on the current tax base of $4.9 billion. Although the exact amount of debt service is unknown until issuance, management plans to minimize the impact of this debt service repayment on the town's tax rate using revenues generated by the town's strong growth and enhanced tax base. So before making the final recommendation to the town board, I will just mention that late last week, some new updated information regarding the Parks and Recreation bond information came available to the town. And in that, it has caused us to need to revisit and retool our recommendation. So what I am potentially revisit and retool, I won't say absolute. What I am recommending to the town board tonight is to first conduct the public hearing, as it has been duly advertised and scheduled, on a $18.5 million bond order for Parks and Recreation bonds and a $20 million bond order on transportation bonds. Followed by the public hearing, I'm recommending that the town board table consideration of the two bond orders and subsequent resolution to the August 2nd Town Board of Commissioners meeting. That will give us sufficient time to evaluate this new information so that we're making a sound recommendation to the board before taking this final action. And it will still keep us within our deadline period with the Wake County Board of Elections to be able to get this on a November ballot if the town board chooses. So at this time, my recommendation is to conduct the public hearing, followed by tabling consideration of the two bond orders and subsequent resolution until the August 2nd Town Board meeting.
And you feel good and comfortable about doing that?
I feel comfortable about the recommendation of tabling those, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. The hearing is now open. Does anyone in attendance attending in person wish to speak in favor of the adoption of the bond orders? Does anyone in attendance wish to speak in opposition to the adoption of the bond orders? Does anyone attending virtually wish to speak in favor of adoption of the bond orders? Scott?
I see no hands raised, Mayor.
Does anyone attending virtually wish to speak in opposition to the adoption of the bond orders?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Scott. The hearing is now closed. And Adam, you want to continue this?
My recommendation is that the town board by motion and second continue the consideration on the bond orders and subsequent resolution until the April, let's try it again, third time's a charm, August 2nd town board meeting.
So the hearing's closed, but we're continuing the deliberation of it.
That's correct.
Okay.
I will entertain that motion then.
Mayor, so moved.
The hearing will be closed.
He's already closed
The hearing is closed,
The hearing has
yes.
been closed.
Mayor, so moved.
Second.
You got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we move to 7B, voluntary annexation petition, Poor Mangum property, the Preserves of Holland, 00804 and 806 Holland Road, ANX 2021-05. And this item is to be tabled.
That's correct. Prior to our July 12th town board meeting, the petitioner requested to table the public hearing and consideration of the petition to the August 2nd board meeting. I think the purpose of that is that the transaction of the property has been delayed, and so they'd like to align it as best they can with that transaction. So August 2nd is what the petitioner is requesting.
So
I'm making that recommendation.
Nothing we need to do with it then?
No, sir. You can, I think the board, really the action is to table the public hearing, so you don't even need to open or close it. You can table it to the August 2nd meeting.
Okay, we need a motion to do that.
You need a motion to do that, yes, sir.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to table it. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, we go to 7C, zoning map amendment, Tony M. Tate, TMTLA and Associates, a portion of 7100 Kenneback Road, REZ 2020-23. More information about this will be presented by Town Manager Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a requested zoning map amendment for a total of 2.229 acres located at a portion of 7100 Kennebec Road from the residential medium density RMD zoning district to the general commercial conditional zoning district GCCZD. The property totals 11.69 acres, however, 2.229 acres of which are the subject of this petition. The property is currently in the town's extraterritorial jurisdiction, or ETJ, and is the subject of annexation petition ANX 2020-16. The zoning map amendment petition requests approval of the general commercial conditional zoning district, GCCZD. The zoning district is intended to permit a mix of high-intensity non-residential development uses consisting of retail, office, institutional, employment centers, and service uses. The district is generally located at intersections along arterial roads, freeways, expressways, parkways, and boulevards, and major thoroughfares, serving an area of 2 miles or greater. The petitioner is requesting the following conditions be applicable to the use of the subject property. The following uses shall not be permitted: live-work units, conference center, stadiums or arenas, community services, hospital, medical center, parks, facilities, open and civic space, bus stop, park and ride, parking deck, recycling collection station, recycling transfer center, electrical substation, electronic sweepstakes gaming operation, palm reader, sexually oriented business, tattoo and body piercing, broadcasting, radio station, television or filming studio, golf course, pawn shop, manufacturing, research and development, greenhouse, nursery, transit, terminal services, vehicle charter services, vehicle boat, equipment sales and or rental, place of worship or place of worship temporary. Those uses that I've just listed are the list of uses that the petitioner is petitioning that not be permitted on this 2.229 acre site. Surrounding properties are a mix of retail, commercial, and residential uses. Existing and proposed retail and commercial uses are east, northeast, and north of the property. Immediately north of the property is the location of the proposed Willow Spring Dollar General retail store, and to the south is a single-family home on several acres of agricultural land. To the west is the remaining balance of the subject property not included in this rezoning petition. The 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan calls for the small-scale commercial center classification at the subject property. This classification is defined as land that provides goods and services to surrounding neighborhoods. Public water is available to serve the subject property. Direct access to public sewer is not currently available. The developer will be responsible for extending sewer services and installation of a pump station in the future to serve this parcel. The subject property is located along and has access to Kennebec Road and NC Highway 42. The 2035 Community Transportation Plan classifies Kennebec Road as a 70-foot right-of-way and is identified as being a 2-lane road with sidewalk and side path or side path. It is currently a 2-lane road. The Community Transportation Plan classifies NC Highway 42 as a 120-foot right-of-way and is identified as being a 4-lane median divided road with side paths. It is currently a 2-lane road. The petitioner held a neighborhood meeting on April 8th of this year online via the Zoom web application. The meeting report was provided in your agenda material, and town staff takes no position as to its content. Management and staff are recommending approval of the proposed zoning map amendment as it is consistent with the 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan and is reasonable in the best interest of the public for the following reasons. First, the requested zoning map amendment, again, is consistent with the 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan's recommendation of CF1, investing in existing growth areas, which encourages the extension of utilities and growth of development in areas that are already in the growth process to maximize effectiveness. And secondly, conditions proposed by the petitioner effectively limit future development so that it is compatible with surrounding areas. At the June 21st meeting of the Planning Board voted unanimously to recommend approval to the Town Board. There's no fiscal note on this agenda item as it is a zoning map amendment. The recommendation to the Town Board this evening is to first conduct a public hearing, followed by the motion to approve REZ 2020-23, a zoning map amendment at 7100 Kennebec Road from the residential medium density RMD zoning district to the general commercial conditional zoning district GC-CZD. The proposed zoning map amendment is consistent with the 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan and is reasonable in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by management and staff. I'm happy to answer any questions that the Town Board might have, either before or after the public hearing, and I am submitting this agenda item and its materials in for the public record.
Thank you, Adam. The hearing is now open. Does anyone attending in person wish to speak in favor of this zoning map amendment?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, board members. My name is Tony Tate. I'm a landscape architect and land planner with TMT LA Associates in Durham. Address is 5011 South Park Drive, Suite 200 in Durham. I'm here tonight representing Mr. Glenn Futrell, who is with me in the audience. Our office prepared the request for the rezoning and have worked with staff to come up with a list of zoning conditions to remove uses that we and staff felt like were not appropriate for the site that we have under consideration here. We held a neighborhood meeting, only had one participant, and she was a relative of the property owner and adjacent to the property. She had no real issues with the request, so we had no really any opposition coming from the neighborhood. And like Adam said, we are in compliance or in conformance with the land use plan, and just request your favorable consideration tonight, and be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I think we're good. But thank you very much, Tony.
Thank you.
Anyone else attending wish to speak in favor of? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the request to the zoning map amendment? Does anyone attending virtually wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment? Scott?
There are no hands raised, Mayor.
Thank you. Does anyone in attendance virtually wish to speak in opposition to this zoning map amendment?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Scott. The hearing is now closed. Is there any discussion by the board? And if not, what is the pleasure of the board?
Manager, we have across the street from the Dollar Tree going in, or Dollar General, I believe, already been approved, or
That
site
is
plan
correct.
under revision right there at the gas station on the opposite corner also. Got it, across the street from here at this time.
Yeah, that's what's being proposed on this site.
And across the street is an existing gas station.
Yes, that's
too, at the
correct.
same time.
That's
So
correct.
that's where my thoughts are with it. I mean, this intersection's a heavy traveled highway. Gas stations make sense on heavy traveled highways. There's a gas station adjacent to it across the street. And I think general commercial use makes the most sense for this location here. I noticed in the comments of I mentioned gas station a minute ago, but in reading the community meeting reports, there was discussion of gas station right there, and a lot of that makes sense in that area. But at minimum, it's not limited to that. It's a general commercial conditional zoning district.
Correct.
And that being the case, I'm good with it. Mayor, make a motion to approve as recommended.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we move on to 8A, the consent agenda. What is the board's pleasure on the items on the consent agenda?
Mayor, make a motion to approve consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, and F with one short question for the manager after motion.
Okay, we got a motion.
Second.
To approve it, a second. And you want some discussion on?
Not really discussion, I'm good with that. Just wanted to highlight on there, they're accepting the funds. Manager, what's the total amount of funds that the town of Fuquay-Varina will be able to receive from the federal government?
I believe it's $9.6 million.
So $9.6 million will be coming to town of Fuquay-Varina from the federal government to help. It's limited money. I know that the town has to follow guidelines dealing with infrastructure projects, but that's nearly $10 million that the Fuquay-Varina taxpayers are not having to pay for. And it's coming from Uncle Sam. So just want to highlight that amount of money for the
Yes,
public
sir.
here. And so, thank you.
I mean, that's a big deal, and we've got a lot of big projects coming up, especially water and other infrastructure needs.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we move on to.
Mayor, got a question?
Yes, sir. Okay, we got a motion and a second. No more discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we move to 8. Let's see here if I'm getting it right. 8C,
Be 10A at this point.
10A.
Yes, sir.
We've done, that's right. Okay, here we go. 9. 10A. Contract award, 2020-21 Fuquay-Varina street improvements. More information will be presented by Town Manager Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider award of the 2021 Town of Fuquay-Varina Street Improvements Project to Turner Asphalt in the amount of $655,315. In consultation with the town's Public Works Department, the town's Engineering Department prepared bid packages for the town's road resurfacing needs. On July 1st of this year at 3 p.m., the town held a bid opening for the 2021 Town of Fuquay-Varina Street Improvements Project. 4 bids were submitted. Turner Asphalt Company was the low bidder in the amount of $655,315. Turner Asphalt has completed 4 of the town's last 5 road resurfacing projects. Town staff has been satisfied with Turner's quality of work on previous projects. Bid prices for this project are below the budgeted amount when combining fiscal year 21 and fiscal year 22 PAL bill appropriation funds. Given the need to improve town streets and the competitive bids received, I'm recommending that the 2021 Town of Fuquay-Varina Street Improvements Project be awarded. The town has historically budgeted $400,000 per year from the town's annual distribution of PAL bill program funds to street resurfacing and related activities. Funding for fiscal year 21 resurfacing improvement projects were not obligated before June 30th to take advantage of economies of scale with the bid environment. Therefore, a budget amendment is attached to allocate the restricted PAL bill fund balance from fiscal year 21 of $400,000 to bring the current fiscal year 22 project budget to $800,000. This will satisfy the recommended contract award of $655,315, and with the remaining balance of $144,685, town staff will identify additional town streets in need of resurfacing improvements that are not currently recognized in the contract. Try to spread the dollar further, get more out of the resurfacing contract at those favorable prices. My recommendation to the town board this evening is by motion to approve a contract award of $655,315 to Turner Asphalt, subject to the town attorney review as to form, and approve a budget amendment, BA 22-02, in the amount of $400,000 as presented and recommended. Of course, on your screen is a map of the areas that are proposed for resurfacing. I think also in your agenda materials, and here on the screen as well, are some more zoomed-in versions of these various streets. These, again, coming from the recommendation of our Public Works Department, who assess these roadways throughout town annually to determine the ones that are in greatest need. And I'm happy to answer any questions the town board may have.
Well, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, and I'm glad to see you going ahead and doing a larger amount to get your pricing down. I would entertain a motion.
Mayor Byrne, I move that we approve a contract award of $655,315 to Turner Asphalt, subject to town attorney review as to form, and approve a budget amendment BA-22-02 in the amount of $400,000 as presented and recommended.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we move to 10B, contract award Carroll Howard Johnson Environmental Education Park Bridge Repairs and Replacement, $41,300. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Town Manager Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a contract award for the Carroll Howard Johnson Environmental Education Park Bridge Repairs and Replacement Project to Pecos Construction in the amount of $41,300. The engineering department prepared an informal bid package to repair the Carroll Howard Johnson Environmental Education Park Bridge Repairs and Replacement Project. The town received informal bids on April 8th of this year and received a total of 2 bids from licensed contractors. Pecos Construction was the low bidder in the amount of $38,000. The start of this project was delayed until the beginning of the town's current fiscal year 22 budget for budgetary purposes. Due to the delay in starting this project, on June 25th of this year, Pecos Construction submitted an updated bid of $41,300 to account for increases in project materials. The project's scope of work includes bridge repairs identified in a structural assessment report prepared by Finch Engineering in February of this year. I believe that report was included in your agenda materials. The northern bridge abutment to be replaced has experienced a large amount of scouring, significantly undermining the footing. Additional repairs include repairing loose hardware and replacing decaying wood on bearing pads, guardrails, and flooring beams. Town staff has been satisfied with Pecos Construction's quality of work on previous projects. We're recommending awarding the construction of the Carroll Howard Johnson Environmental Education Park Bridge Replacement and Repairs Project to Pecos Construction Incorporated in the amount of $41,300 as presented and recommended, and authorize me as your manager to execute a contract with Pecos Construction in the amount of $41,300, subject to the town attorney's review as to form. The duration of the renovation project is expected to take no more than 120 days, and this does fall within the approved project budget. My recommendation to the town board this evening is by motion to award the construction of contract award Carroll Howard Johnson Environmental Education Park Bridge Repairs and Replacement to Pecos Construction in the amount of $41,300 as presented and recommended, and authorize me as your manager to execute the contract with Pecos Construction in the amount of $41,300, subject to the town attorney's review as to form. I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have. This is a fiscal year 22 project that we identified and was approved in our fiscal year 22 budget. This goes ahead and pulls the trigger and gets this much-needed project handled.
This is one that we put down the road. We've kind of gone about as far as we can go on.
That's correct.
I remember Jonathan talking about this several years ago, so I'd certainly recommend it, and I will entertain a motion on it.
Mayor, make a motion to approve as recommended by staff. This bridge, comment right real quick. This location, this park is used a lot and utilized by a lot of people in our community. And I know lots of kids go over there for, what's exactly what it is, environmental education.
School activities,
and
yeah.
School activities, play there in the creek. And I see my kids there and a variety of other kids there enjoying it. And so it's good that we're able to replace this bridge, keep this park open, and keep it going. Made the motion at the beginning.
Okay, got a motion, and anybody?
Second.
Got a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we move right on to 11A. Manager's report. Adam?
Thank you, Mayor. A few updates for the town board this evening as it pertains to our planning department. Last week, our department welcomed Grant Vestal as the current planner 2 and Jason Ballard as our code compliance officer on board with the town. So we are pleased to have those 2 gentlemen join our organization and assist us with the important work that we did. Our inspections department has a new field inspector, Dennis Grice, who has joined us. He started on July 6th, and as of right now, we have issued 49 new single-family permits for the month of July. We have surpassed last year's new single-family permit issuance. Last year, if you recall, we issued 1,031 single-family permits in the calendar year, which was a town record. From January 1st to today, we've issued 1,062. So growth is strong here in our community. As it pertains to our IT department, CityWorks, which is the work order management software implementation, has kicked off. This is going to help us be more efficient and effective with the service that we provide to our customers. And we'll begin defining workloads and user departments coming up this week. We're also working to implement a phone system upgrade scheduled to take place later this month. Our Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Department, we've seen 1,633 fall youth sports registrations since we opened it up earlier this month. Registration ends this Saturday at 5 p.m., and we are pacing at or above the previous normal year's participation level, which is pretty exciting. People are definitely wanting to partake and be a part of our youth athletics program here in Fuquay-Varina. As it pertains to our Art Center, the box office website is up and live, and tickets for many fall theater events and some spring events are available for purchase online or in person. Pleased to report that our police department is 3rd in the state of North Carolina for raising funds for the Special Olympics. Our Custard with the Police was well received this past week, and we'll be planning future activities with St. Augusta Church, so we're very excited about that partnership. Crime statistics, we have a 29% reduction in violent and property crime year to date compared to last year. Our Honor Guard presented colors. I think Tim might still be here over on the corner. Our Honor Guard presented colors at Hilltop Church for the annual red, white, and blue service. And we are planning many youth outreach events to include a forensics day camp and a junior youth week-long police academy coming up this year. We have started the bicycle helmet reward program. So if there's a youth in our community that gets caught wearing their bicycle helmet, they'll get a ticket from our police department, police officers, and that ticket will get them a treat at some of our various fine establishments here. Usually it's an ice cream treat or maybe a small French fry, but it's a treat nonetheless. And finally, I just want to mention that Mark has been appointed as our cost share municipal management representative to the Wake County Fire Commission under the recently revised structure that will begin, and he will begin his term or tenure as a fire commission member this week. And so the town will actually have 2 representatives to the fire commission, although that they are to be fair and think about fire service countywide. But both Mark and our fire chief will both serve on that fire commission. So that'll be good for the town as well. I did include a project status report in your agenda materials that has a lengthy number of pages of multiple projects that we've got ongoing with the town, some that have actually been checked off and completed. If you got any questions about the project status report, please let me know. We do have our ice cream social back on the calendar this year. It was canceled last year for COVID, but it's back on the calendar this year, Sunday, July 18th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Fuquay Mineral Spring Park. We do not have a second board meeting in the month of July. This is our only board meeting in the month of July. So there is no board meeting July 20th, and that is customary with our July schedule. The National Night Out Against Crime with the Fuquay-Varina Police Department that will also include a Fuquay-Varina Police Department open house. So we're going to actually get an opportunity to share our new police department with the public will be Wednesday, August 3rd from 5 to 8 p.m. And there is a first reading for a zoning map amendment submitted by Larry Wietek, First Capital Investments LLC, 2406 Fleming Road. This is rezoning petition 2021-04, and it will be coming forward to you at a future August meeting. I'm happy to answer any questions that the town board may have.
Okay, thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Appreciate those updates.
And I believe it's Tuesday, August 3rd, not Wednesday, August 3rd, that I previously mentioned.
Yeah, I believe you're right. Okay, we'll move on to board comments. Mayor Pro Tem Massengill.
Yes, sir. After the last board meeting, I think it was the very next day, the Garden Club donated the Guardian statue for the police department, and it's sitting out front. I'm proud. And it was a comment that was made that day by a lady with the Garden Club. I thought was a very good comment too. And the theme of it was protection. And what was discussed was that the Guardian statue, as Fuquay-Varina Police Department guards our citizens, keeps our citizens safe. And just as was mentioned a minute ago, 29% crime reduction year over year. So not only is the Fuquay-Varina Police Department keeping us safe with reducing crime, what was mentioned is that made a statue also be a symbol of Fuquay-Varina citizens keeping the police department safe at the same time. And so I thought those were some good comments made that day and very relevant. And it was a good event, a very nice statue there, and that's something that will last for a very long time. And I was proud of the Garden Club for donating that to the police department, and hope that more organizations will do that and find locations in town to be able to share artwork and those types of things. So very good event, and it looks great in front of your headquarters. No further comments.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Massengill. Commissioner Smith.
No comments this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Harris.
Just a few comments, Mr. Mayor. Had an opportunity to attend the 4th of July event that I thought was well organized. It was great to see the splash pad up and running again. The children enjoyed it. It was well attended. I thought the food and the weather was perfect, and the staff is to be commended, as well as attending the 4th of July celebration at Fuquay-Varina Baptist Church. That was an invitation that, Mr. Mayor, you and I attended, and I was appreciative for the invitation and thought it was an excellent event. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner Harris. Commissioner Wunsch, give us your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and it's good to be able to appear remotely at this meeting tonight. I wanted to say a couple things. One, I wanted to congratulate our Fuquay-Varina varsity baseball team, the high school baseball team. They won the state championship since our last meeting, and they won it in a very convincing fashion. Proud of all of our high school students, and proud of this team that has won us another state championship in Fuquay-Varina. It was just 4 or less years ago, actually 3 years ago, that we won a state championship with the baseball team. And so this was just a very big honor for our high school, for our town. And as I have stated over and over again, we have amazing athletes and students in the town of Fuquay-Varina. I also, too, wanted to echo what Commissioner Harris said about the fireworks. They were outstanding this year. Just kudos. I think every year we do a good job, but this year just absolutely outstanding. And I know got a lot of great feedback about the fireworks from the public. And so thank you, and thank you to all who have a part in keeping everyone safe, our police department, our fire department, and putting on just this every single year. And those would be my comments, other than I was not able to attend the meeting tonight due to an exposure to COVID. and out of an abundance of caution, wanted to, though, still be able to participate in the meeting. So thank you, and thank you to Scott for setting me up so that I could be part of the meeting tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Wunsch, and appreciate your abundance of caution for all of us. Commissioner Gardner.
I'd just like to add my congratulations to our 4A champion baseball team from Fuquay High School. Go Bengals.
Absolutely. And we're working on some signage to the entranceways coming into our town, acknowledging this. And we also authorized, when they came back into town, the police escort brought them back into town. We consider them a valuable asset to Fuquay-Varina, and we're extremely, extremely proud of them. I received a call today, and it was really a good call. They're raising money to try to get championship rings for the team members, and I'll share the thoughts about that with anybody that wants to help with that cause. Yeah, I don't know whether Marilyn had these in her book, I reckon, or somebody did, or Teresa did.
They were my stuff.
I'm trying to look at my calendar and figure out where I've been, and it's been amazing the last little bit. Our Mayor Pro Tem did the Garden Club. I was out of town on vacation. I was able to listen to some of the Metro Mayor's weekly legislative calls, both on the 25th and on the 2nd of July, and one on the 9th. We had a Chamber of Commerce ribbon cutting on the 9th, and that was at the Fuquay Pediatric Dentistry, which is really a nice facility, and its own, Marilyn, help me with Attain Court. And most impressed with it, and you know, it's when you get new types of businesses that come into the town, it's really kind of exciting, knowing that our young people can go to these places without having to, you know, to go to Cary or Raleigh. Let's see, I thought I had the 4th of July or the 3rd of July celebration. The weather was perfect. I was like Commissioner Harris. I mean, it was, town staff did a great job. Had a large turnout. And our splash pad, everything that we're doing with that splash pad now, Jonathan, is recycled water. And I was really impressed with that, and that is really a good thing for the environment there. And, you know, everybody was enjoying it. I just enjoyed watching them have such a good time, especially the younger ones. The Spirit Night with Culver's group, and we had a meeting with the Home Builders Association Government Committee. Adam and I did. It was a Zoom, by way of Zoom, but we were able to accomplish some good things there. I met with spoke to the Windsor Point residents on the 8th. On the 9th, again, we get back into the Metro's weekly legislative call meeting and the ribbon cutting for the pediatric group. We've got another ribbon cutting on the 30th, Smith Douglas Homes Legacy Farms, and another Metro Mayor's call meeting, legislative call meeting, coming up on the 16th. Adam, do we have a closed session tonight?
We do have a closed session, Mayor, pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A3, attorney-client privilege.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion that we move into closed session. Is that what you're looking for us to do?
Yes, sir, if you're done with your comments.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm done, but I'm gonna need to, I need to turn it over to you because you're gonna make a comment or two. Adam's gonna make a comment or two about me. So, Adam, I'm gonna let you do this.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, Mayor asked me, and I'm honored to make these remarks on his behalf, and tomorrow, this evening, we will also be posting these remarks on our town website and on our town social media accounts. So I'm just going to read this on the mayor's behalf. Fuquay-Varina Mayor John W. Byrne announced his retirement tonight and that he will not seek re-election in the upcoming November election. He has served as mayor of Fuquay-Varina for 20 years. As a quote, the mayor has stated, "I set goals when I became mayor. I made a commitment to those goals, and I've been able to achieve those goals along with the help of some fantastic town commissioners and a first-class town staff. My wife and I are in good health, and we are at a stage in our lives where we want to do some things that require a time commitment that would frankly take away from the responsibilities of being mayor. This is a great opportunity to step down on a high note and transition to the next phase in our lives. It has been the greatest honor of my life to be mayor of Fuquay-Varina. The citizens of the town of Fuquay-Varina have greatly benefited from Mayor Byrne's 20-year tenure. Mayor Byrne led efforts to complete the Judd Parkway Loop around Fuquay-Varina. The 7-mile loop improves traffic flow and commuter times for residents and regional commuters from Southern Wake and bordering counties. He also led significant streetscape investments in both the Fuquay and Varina districts, helping to revitalize them into thriving business areas. Under Mayor Byrne's guidance, the town received tens of millions of dollars in grant funding for community improvements, and the town received a AAA bond rating from Standard & Poor's, the highest municipal bond rating issued for units of government. The town made significant investments in infrastructure, including the expansion of Terrible Creek Wastewater Treatment Plant, which increased treatment capacity from 1 million to 3 million gallons per day. Additionally, a new public service center was added to accommodate a growing population, and Town Hall relocated back downtown. Also under Mayor Byrne's leadership, a former Belk department store building was refurbished into a thriving art center. The town purchased and revitalized the Fuquay Mineral Spring Park, for which the town was founded and gets part of its name. The town park inventory grew to 20 parks with more than 500 acres of active and passive land spread throughout town. Most notably, the town recently accepted 140 acres of land from Wake County, which is now the Hilltop Needmore Town Park and Preserve, and completed a $5.5 million upgrade of Fleming Loop Park. Mayor Byrne has always been a champion of preservation. Under his guidance, the town of Fuquay-Varina was selected to participate in the North Carolina Main Street program in 2006 and continues in this program today. In conjunction with strong volunteerism, the program has helped to strengthen the town's 2 downtown districts. Mayor Byrne also has personally given back to the community. In his 20 years as mayor, he has contributed both financially and through the donation of land to the town. Notably, he and his wife Patty are friends of the Art Center and made a sizable donation to the Art Center Theater. Mayor Byrne also donated land to the Fuquay-Varina Fire Department to allow for an expansion of Fire Station Number 1. Mayor Byrne has advocated for investing in employee education, competitive wages, and benefits. A particular point of pride for him is that he has given the oath of office to almost all incoming police officers in his 20 years as mayor. I provided a quote for this statement as well. Mayor Byrne has been an incredibly strong leader in helping to navigate the explosive growth the town of Fuquay-Varina has experienced over the past 20 years. His strong vision and commitment, and quite honestly, his affection for this town have left an enduring mark on Fuquay-Varina. Finally, Mayor Byrne has expressed support for Mayor Pro Tem Blake Massengale as mayor in the upcoming November election. The mayor is quoted as stating that Blake is the best prepared to take on this important role with the town. His experience as both a town commissioner and a planning board member give him a unique insight to how local government functions. He is a wonderful family man, business owner, and advocate of Fuquay-Varina, Mayor Byrne is quoted as stating. Massengill has served on the town board since 2013 and is mayor pro tem since 2015. Mayor, that concludes the statement that you've asked me to share with the town board and the public this evening. And with your wishes, we are going to post this on our website and social media accounts this evening.
Yes, sir, that would be, that'd be fine. It's been a great honor for me to serve as mayor. I've tried to be a good listener, a good advocate for people of all colors, and very much interested in our town as we move forward. You know, when you do something for 20 years, you've done the best you can do. You care about it. It's a passion for you, and I'm sure Mayor Pro Tem Massengill will do the same. And we have a wonderful town board. They're very much interested, you know, in our community, and that's the important thing, is really be engaged, be involved in your community. You know, I've appointed many people to the, I see some of my board members back there, planning board or board of adjustments, and I think that you have to have a real caring for your whole community, because it's a tremendous amount of hours you put in. I'm not sure that 40 hours a week would be enough, but the good Lord has blessed me, and I've been able to do that, and have been honored to do it for the past 20 years. And I don't know, you know, really anything else to say. Good luck to Mayor Pro Tem. I will be pulling for you. I think you'll do an outstanding job. A lot of this work is done kind of behind the scenes, or it's in public, but you're engaging, you know, with your legislatures, your county commissioners, your national representatives. You know, you're trying your best to allow Fuquay-Varina to be all it can be. And I know Mayor Pro Tem has those same feelings that I do, and you have to be willing to give of yourself to spend that time to accomplish the things that you need to. You know, one of the projects that, and it may seem like a small project, but it was one that I had written down. I wrote down 10 things 20 years ago, and I stayed focused on them. Was down at the Mineral Spring Park, and I kept looking for grants, and I know, is our fire chief here, Tony Malwin? I don't see him back here anywhere, but I know that he looked, every time we had a storm, he looked for grants to help restore the banks of the Mineral Spring Park. And believe it or not, we had the opportunity through the Gold Leaf Foundation, and John Adcock, who was a representative at that time, kind of got us on track with it. But we received a very large grant that helped improve the Mineral Spring Park, and that's kind of part of the foundation of Fuquay-Varina. It's where the history of our town, you know, comes from. So you have to always be trying to figure out a way, you know, to save money, like Joanne was able to work hard to do for us, you know, this evening with that check. But every department head does that. The other thing that I'm probably the most proud of is the amount of education that we've afforded each of our directors, you know, at the School of Government. They have gone and spent about 6 months of their time over and above their job. But we've had, Adam, now is it 14 or?
15 now.
15 now that have graduated from that program during my 20 years. So what that does, it helps each department get better, but also they know what other departments are doing from across the state. And it really is a good thing because they bring ideas back to us that they learn from their classmates all across the state of North Carolina. And I've seen a lot of good things happen in Fuquay-Varina because of this dedication of our own employees bringing back information, you know, to our town. And, you know, the grant money is something that you just have to always be looking for. I mean, every department head is looking for grant money for their department. And, you know, you won't find it every day, but you'll find it sometimes, but it doesn't mean you're not looking for it every day. And we've been blessed in the last several years, you know, to get some substantial grants that have allowed us to be able to keep our taxes down, but provide better roads for our community and to expand our, you know, our parks and recreation systems. I mean, the county gave us, I don't know, it's about a $3 or $4 million park. And now it's up to us to take care of it and to maintain it and all, but it's our park here, and Jonathan's working hard. All of a sudden, his responsibility went up another third probably because of that acquisition. But, you know, I'll be around for a little bit longer till November, so we'll try to do our best from now on, and thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mayor, I'd like to make a comment for you.
Yes, sir.
Fuquay-Varina is certainly not going to be the same without you as mayor. You've done an amazing, amazing job in giving this position your all. For 20 years, you've been at nearly every event for the past 20 years. I see you walking around town, checking on things, whether it's downtown or whether it's other locations in Fuquay-Varina. And it's evident how deeply you care about this community. And all the citizens and business owners know that, and they appreciate you. Over the years, you've worked with a variety of different board members, a variety of different town managers and town staff, and you've made Fuquay-Varina be the best that it can be. I know it's not easy dealing with all the personalities you face between board members and all the interactions that you have. You know, the town has an accolades page, and it lists all the things that the town has accomplished, and all those things are things that you've been involved with and had your hand in firsthand for those, and those are major accomplishments that us as a board and you as a mayor are very, very proud of. You should be really proud of your legacy in Fuquay-Varina, the differences that you've made in Fuquay-Varina. I appreciate your kind words of support for supporting me as the next mayor, and tomorrow morning I will be filing for election of mayor of Fuquay-Varina. You've laid the groundwork for me. As I mentioned to you before, you have big shoes to fill, physically and literally. And I plan to continue the great path in Fuquay-Varina that you forged. I do hope that you and Patty can enjoy some travel time. I know you'll have a long list of neat places you'd like to go, and you'll be around and available too at the same time to be involved in Fuquay-Varina. So thank you for your words of encouragement, and thank you for what you've done for our community.
Thank you very much, Blake, and I appreciate it. And you know, the timing is right for me. I mean, you know, you do something for 20 years. You try your best to do the best you can do, and you know when the time is right, and the time's right for me, now. And y'all will do great. I know you will. Maryland is, you know, I think everybody, we got a good team, Commissioner Harris and Commissioner Smith and Jason. I don't know if Jason's still on the call or not. I assume he is, but
I'm still here.
we've got a great team here, and I think that is the key to all of it. And certainly Adam Mitchell. I comment on a town manager. He has the integrity. He does what he says he's going to do. I have been, for 20 years, I have been served, I think, with 7 town managers. And Adam is by far the best one that we've ever had here in Fuquay-Varina. And he cares deeply about the community, and he has a passion for it. I know some folks are a little frustrated right now. You know, I appreciate that, and I feel for it. I promise you that I do. And I think we are trying to do good things for it. Now, in your case, you want something that's, you know, that's instant. These things that we talked about took a long time. Now, I'm not planning on it taking a long time for y'all, you know, either. But we want to do it right, and we want to do a good job, and just be patient with us. You've got good people here that are trying to do good things, and I believe that. I really do. Everybody up here is trying to do, and I know Commissioner Harris believes that. You know, it may not seem that way, but I believe it. Okay, if it's time to go to closed session.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, so moved.
Second.
And it's pursuant to which one? You got
Pursuant to
it?
General Statute 143, 318, 11A3, attorney-client privilege.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.